Hello again. Today we'll talk about some specific visualizations and components that don't belong to one of the previously mentioned categories, like tables or charts. You can find them all in the other category. Let's start with the first one, and that's the parameters page. Let's have a look on how we can link data to it. We can start off with a parameter from one specific element. Let's take one of our Nimbra nodes, for example. And you can see we have all the pages listed here, again with all the parameters, but the parameters here are disabled because we need the pages actually here. So we can select one of the pages and link it to the components. And here we have the page as you have it also in your monitoring app. That's only one way to do it. We have also different ways. Let's try to have the same page now, but in a different way. Therefore, we'll start with a parameter from a protocol. We'll take the protocol of our Nimbra nodes. You can see we have the same pages over here listed, and if we link one of those pages, we see we are still missing an element. Therefore, we go to the elements, search one of our Nimbra nodes, and now we can add this element as a filter. Now the component has all data, knows which element and which page it has, so it can show you the page. Third option, let's try to put it all side by side. A third option is to start with the element as a data source. And now component says it's missing a page. And we can use page now as filter. So it's the opposite of the second option. We take the element as data and the page as filter. You'll see in one of the future sessions when we work with feeds why that can be important, that you take either one option or the other. The second component that we'll talk about here is our service definition component. Let's bring it in. We click the green button, we can see that we can link this to bookings or service definitions. Let's try first to link it with one of our bookings. If we link it, we see that we have a default view of our booking with all the resources linked to it. If we look at some options here, we can define if we want to show the IDs of the nodes or not. If we want to visualize the interfaces or not. You can have an option here to hide the nodes that don't have a resource linked to it yet. And you can manually hide some of the nodes if you want that. There is zoom in functionality, so if you enable it, you can zoom in or zoom out on your definition. And you can define the line type. If we look at the settings, we can see that we can define actions to certain nodes. So the actions are basically automation scripts. For example, a swap resource script with a specific icon that we can choose from our library. You see the script has two parameters, but these are by default linked to the booking and the node that you will click on, and you can specify to which node you want to link this action to. For example, we want to swap our video node. We see here we have this link button, and if we click it, we have our interactive script. We search for another resource, we see that this has been swapped, and we can close the script again. Besides linking to a booking, we can also link to a service definition. Let's try to do that. Okay, here we need to go to the layout options to enable the option to show the nodes that don't have a resource assigned to it, because we don't have a booking yet, of course. For the rest, we have the same options and settings as with linking to a booking. Next visualization in the row is the spectrum analyzer view, but we'll skip that one for now, as we have a dedicated session on the use of the spectrum analyzer view together with its relevant data. The last visualization in this other section is the visual overview. Visual files can be linked to elements, services, and views, so that's also to what we can link in here. If we link, for example, to our server, we can see that our visual file is displayed here inside this dashboard component. Looking at the settings, we can enable a page selection on top, so that we can go over the different visual pages, or we can change the default visual page of our component. We can also link to services and views. So if we link to a service, yet again, the visual file rendered in the component, we have the same settings. If we link to a view, again, same thing, and also the same options in here. So we can go to the next component, and that is the trend statistics. Let's have a look to what we can link this to. Parameters, of course. Let's take parameters from our server again. And we can see also that not all the parameters are highlighted, so only the ones that have trending enabled can be linked. So if we do that, we end up with the component with the minimum, average, and maximum value of that parameter. If we look at the settings, we can change the time span to which the calculation is done, and also apply some grouping. To illustrate the grouping, I have configured the trend statistics here with two parameters from two elements. So if you look at the grouping, by default no grouping is applied, so we end up with 4 different visualizations in the scroll view. But we can group this. We can group by parameter, for example, and then we have a first page here with the first parameter, and then a second one with the second parameter. Same for grouping by element. We have the two elements together here. By index is not applicable here because it doesn't concern table parameters, but we can also choose always to group everything together on one big visualization.